I guess that's a lady. Hey, why don't we start from praying here? Hey, Rick from Orange, can you lead our time in prayer?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Father, grateful for a new morning, a new day, and the way that you love us just by giving us the ability to partner with you. I pray that you give us eyes to see and ears to hear how your Spirit's moving among us, and help us to be creative in the ways that we do so. We join you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
All right. Well, hey, this last month, we had a number of cities that, put on their citywide volunteer day here. And so I'm going to start as some are still jumping in here. But why don't we start off? Kim, New Braunfels. I'm going to see if I can put up that graphic for you.
Oh, thanks.
There is. All right. I'll let you share just real briefly about a couple highlights here about New Braunfels. What happened?
Sure. So it was super fun this year. I just felt like there were just so many people this year that went, oh, Big Serve. That's what we call our Citywide Volunteer Day. I mean, we had like K-Love called us and did a big interview with us, our local radio station, our newspaper, like everybody just finally went, oh, this is a good thing. And I think a lot of people are just trying to find the goodness in this season of our country. So we had a big year this year, 700 volunteers. We've never had that many. We serve with 53 churches and organizations around town. I'll tell you about the donations in a minute, but we had 8 truckloads, like pickup truckloads full of donations for our nonprofits. We had 50 different project shifts. We do Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday as well. And so those are our different shifts. And then we had 29 different agencies that we served. So it was super fun. Everyone was so encouraged. I'll tell you 2 quick little stories. I walked up with a volunteer to the food bank because my volunteer team went around and handed out t-shirts and water at different sites. So I walked up with a volunteer and she stopped at our food bank because it was a donation or a distribution day. And there were hundreds of cars waiting to get food. And she stopped and said, are there really this many people that are hungry in our city? And I said, oh, there's a lot more. And she just started to cry and she said, I am so selfish. I have to do more. I'm hooked now. Like, tell me what else I can do. So is that worth it? Yes. And then I had somebody else call me later the next week and say, hey, I haven't seen much hope in our world in the last couple of years, but I volunteered at Big Serve and now I have hope. Okay. So like you say, Jeff, we're setting up the church to, we are sharing the gospel. This is good news to people. And we're setting the church up to say why this is a big deal, why this is hope and goodness. And so, but I was going to share a couple things that were knocked it out of the park. We'll definitely do it again next year.
Because we got more cities need to share.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, really quick. We had a donation hub in the middle of the city for 6 different nonprofits that didn't need painting. And people came in hordes. I mean, so many things were dropped off at that donation hub where we could also have people writing encouragement cards to our nurses and police. That one was by far the favorite thing. So anyway, I'll just stop there.
Awesome. Very, very good. All right, Lynn, tell us about Love Riverside.
Yes, it was a great day. I felt like we were just really kind of getting our momentum back. So we didn't have as many volunteers as we normally do. We didn't have as many projects. We had about 15 instead of sometimes 25 or 30. But the people that came out, a lot of them were new. We had a lot of families that came out. The highlights of it was we definitely had an increase in sponsorships. We had an increase in engagement and an increase in partnerships. So even now, what we've noticed, here we started in 2016. So here we are 6 years later, and all of a sudden people know more of who we are and what we represent. So people are contacting us now, wanting to give us food, give us turkeys, give us food baskets, give us toys for all this coming in. So we've been a bit of a smaller org all along, but all of a sudden now we're known more for a connecting agency within the city, which we are loving. We had more churches engage with us this year. So even though numbers were small, impact of how we move forward, it has definitely increased. So anyway, it was a great day.
How many volunteers you had?
We had 220 volunteers and
And-
15 projects.
And it typically in a pre-COVID year, you would have what?
Probably like 500 or
Yeah.
so volunteers. Our collections this year, we collected again. Last year, man, we hit it out of the park. We had so much collected of all kinds of things to help other nonprofits. This year that the collections did not go as well. So I don't know if people are just kind of like, okay, we're done. I felt like this year is kind of a year where we are regaining momentum. I feel like even just in cities all over that's the word. We're not at 60 miles per hour yet. Maybe we're 20 to 30, getting started again. So, but it's good because I feel like the atmosphere is one where people are wanting to start to connect again. So we're starting, and we normally close up shop after our serve day. But November and December is still going to be busy for us as we have some other opportunities to serve veterans and serve families. So anyway, it's continuing.
I heard from Marguerite from Stockton, loves Stockton. She's going to be jumping in here late, but she said a lot of that same kind of lost the momentum. This was tough, guys. This COVID thing doesn't work well with trying to do citywide volunteerism because you can't do as much. I mean, we have half amount of projects. Texas, you guys are a little bit different. COVID doesn't exist there maybe as much, but for here, everything it was just harder. But she also said that the heart of service was just amazing though. Like so many people are still, they get it. They love it. And we're really looking forward to next year. Excited about Riverside. I love that picture, that backdrop. That's Riverside in the backdrop, right? That's really cool. That's a great photo of having the overview of the city there. Brian, tell us about Modesto. Quick couple highlights.
Sorry, new computer, getting used to it. All right. So we had Love Modesto on October 9th, and we were excited to see this was the kind of extra version of our Love Day. We had our April Day, now we had our October Day. So we were excited to see about 1,000 people, a little over 1,000 people come out. We had 31 different projects. We were able to do it kind of in that hybrid format of COVID safe and then on-site projects, remote projects, all that great stuff. We were fortunate enough to have our congressman come out and actually not just take pictures, but volunteer on a project, work on that. So we were pretty pleased with it. It was a one-time kind of deal of doing it in the fall. There was a lot to compete with for us on that day within the community, but it was pretty good for the time of year that we had going into that. And so now we're gearing up towards April.
Very good. And then we also had Love Salida. I don't think Lance is on the call here, and Love Central Coast. I don't think Eric's on the call here, but I've heard good things from them, as well as some of the challenges, of having, you can't do as many things, less projects, can't have a rally. So I'm really, looking forward to next year, y'all. Like I'm really hoping the spring that I don't know who knows what this winter's going to bring, who knows what next spring's going to bring, but man, I'm really hopeful, aren't you all? Like we can, get back to somewhat normal. We can still hopefully have more projects, and it might be slow. It might not be until the following year that we're full stride, but who knows? But God knows. Hey, I want to welcome a couple new cities here. First of all, Bob here in my upper left corner from Love Daly City. So Love Daly City, new city on board with Love Our Cities. And Bob, just real briefly, why do you want to be a part of Love Our Cities? Why do you want to do Love Daly City?
Well, first of all, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everybody. It's so good to see you. It's a little after 8 o'clock out here, and just listening so far to Kim, Lynn, and Brian from Love Modesto, that is inspiring. So thank you. And I'm sure that everybody here has their stories that they can share. We just kicked off Love Daly City 2 months ago. So we're very, very new. Why are we doing this? Well, to follow the model of Love Our Cities, we would like to use this tool to introduce our city of 110,000 people to an opportunity for Christ, but also to bring everybody together, doing something together. And I think that will help people to connect more in our city. We're a very individualistic city of 110,000 people. And one of the things that we just found out in the last 2 months, everybody, is that Daly City has, on the spreadsheet that I'm looking at, about 60 churches. And most of these churches we've never heard of. And so that was an eye opener. And we were realizing, wow, there's some churches here that are doing the gospel evangelism, but we've never heard of them. And I think this is also a good opportunity, not for the churches to know each other, but also for the community, especially those that don't know Christ, to know where a church may be closest to where they live in Daly City. And so we kicked it off about 2 months ago, and we're still reading the worksheets here, like our distinctives and getting started. And that's what I'm going to present at our meeting next Tuesday. And so we were able to send emails out to almost 60 churches. So far, we have 7 churches that are on board, and the city council, the police department, the fire departments, they're excited. They're just waiting for us to schedule a time to meet with them. So if you've already been there, you know what we're going through right now. It's new, but it's exciting. And so I'm very blessed to be on board with all of you.
Thank you, Bob. And just so y'all know, Daly City's right south of San Francisco, right up against South San Francisco, that area there. Hey, Bob, you referred to if you're planning on next spring, you're only maybe 6 months away. And so in that city leader resources, there's the timeline of where you should be at, what you should be thinking about, what you should be doing when you're 6 months away from doing your volunteer day. So refer back to that city leaders resource page and timeline, and make sure you're staying on track so that you have enough time to prepare for this thing to be successful. Hey, I wanted to also, I don't know if Roger's on yet, from Love Del Norte, another new, actually it's a county. There's 5 cities in this county, Northern California. They're on board as well. So we're spinning up their website and the Daly City website right now. Roger, you are here.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, there you go. The name threw me off.
We'll say Del Norte.
Del Norte.
Yeah, then we know you're not a tourist.
Oh, Del Norte. I got you. So, hey, Roger, why do you want to be part of Love Our Cities? Why do you want to love your Del Norte?
Oh, because we love Del Norte. So yeah, I'm a pastor here at the Foursquare Church. We just celebrated 90 years. The church did in our community. So yeah, we love to love our cities. Right now, we're doing a few different things. We do a laundry love once a month. We work with the homeless, foster care, adoption care. So yeah, we want to bring everybody, all those resources, into one place on one day to really show our city how much we really care for them. We're a poverty-stricken county. There's a lot of a poverty mindset of sort. Really a lot of hopelessness, especially with COVID, coming. And so we just want to offer some hope. So yeah, we're excited. Awesome.
Well, good to have you on board. And I got to say this, Mandy from Placentia, you can wave Mandy. Man, if you were at the very beginning of the call or before the call, Mandy is moving from Placentia to Dallas, Texas. And so she is no longer going to be able to be our Love Placentia leader. And Jay and I are crying on our pillows at night because we're going to miss Mandy. She has just been so amazing, such a model in leading a city and bringing the city together and doing a lot of creative things and just loving her city, and we're just going to miss her tremendously. And we're hoping maybe something might happen in Dallas someday, but yeah, you got to make sure your new job is on track first and foremost. But thank you, Mandy. Anything you want to say?
Thanks for your kind words, Jeff. Yeah, it's been an honor to be part of this group for the last 5 years, and we have loved leading Love Placentia, working with some of my team to see what the next steps may be. And my church is planning to hire someone new. We don't know the timeline on that. So hopefully somebody from Placentia is gonna step forward. But yeah, thanks so much. It's great. You know, you're all doing great things, and yeah, maybe someday we'll have a chance to get connected again.
Very good. Thank you, Mandy. Hey, real briefly, this is what Love Our Cities is about. Number one is Citywide Volunteer Days. We're about this catalytic event that takes place in every city where the whole community comes together, you know, to love their city. We're also about citywide initiatives, year-round involvement. If all we're doing is this volunteer day, we're missing it, because that should not be the goal. The goal is year-round, and that year-round involvement, that those initiatives and the volunteer day, they really work hand in hand perfectly to you know, really promote each other in a sense. So initiatives, it could be ongoing volunteerism in nonprofits, it could be a foster care initiative, or whatever that would look like. But we want to see ongoing involvement in our city. That's what's really going to move the needle in our cities. Third thing, citywide convening. You know, it's about relationships. We all know that. It's about relationships. And who knows more people in our cities? Who is better connected than we are? I mean, we know the businesses, the churches, the government, the schools. I mean, we are just so connected. We're the conveners in our city. And so when a tragedy happens, or when a pandemic happens, I mean, the city and the county, they look towards us because we are connected, and we can help people with needs connect to the people who can help meet those needs here. And then underpinning all this is this beautiful collaboration and network of city leaders like we have right here, is that we are on the same team. We're doing this together. We all have different cities, but our cities are a whole lot alike. We got similar challenges and similar joys in all of our cities. And we get to do this together. We get to learn from each other. And it was just awesome hearing from all of you so far, just what's taken place in your cities, the challenges that are there, but also, hey, looking forward to what the future holds here. So I want to talk about citywide initiatives, year-round involvement. That's kind of the focus of the rest of this call is going to be about. So my first question is this: do any of you have anything planned for the rest of the year? Maybe it's something for Veterans Day, maybe it's something Thanksgiving around that theme, or something around Christmas, any events or any initiatives that your city is doing to love your city during the rest of this year. Go ahead and raise your hand in the thing, and I'll let you share a little bit. Go ahead, Mandy, or April. Sorry, I'll get to you, Mandy, and Jane, a little bit.
I can be Mandy.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do a simple Christmas card signing. We're going to have them stations set up at each of the churches on Sunday mornings, and we're going to collect them all. And in December, we'll have the chaplains at the hospital distribute them to the employees. And so it's just a simple, hey, thanks. They've been working so hard. It's been a long, almost 2 years for them. And I don't know, it was just something somebody brought to me, and I thought, that's a great idea, and it's easy.
Great idea. Very cool. Sarah.
Good morning. Yeah, we are in Ventura. We're doing a Christmas sponsor family situation where we're going to be collecting funds and connecting with some of the local charities and area churches and the YMCA to identify families that they have that would need support during the Christmas time. And basically we'll be purchasing the essentials for the kids: clothes, coats, shoes, those kinds of things, to really give them what they might need to kind of finish out the school year, if you will. And then as well as a wish list item. And then we do a family gift, something that will bring them together, whether it's a game or a movie or something like that they can do it together as a family. And then we do a hot meal for each family as well. So it's small for us. We're unofficially a city, but we're as we're getting stuff together, as we have just formulated our board, we're trying to do something together as a board to bring us together to kind of launch us as a group. So
awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say, Sarah, I don't think I officially said welcome to Love Ventura yet, but I feel like you're crossing that line right now. So super excited to have you're a part. Ian, tell us about what are you guys doing in Costa Mesa?
Well, we have stuff going on. We have 4 main initiatives that we do all year. So we have people signing up to prayer walk their streets during the holidays in the prayer area, in the neighboring area. We have a whole neighboring kind of holiday initiative that people can actually sign up for. So we're working to touch 1,000 neighbors during the holidays. And then in the schools area, we have we're working with the school district and connecting our churches and people to families that are in need in our schools, that they can help do gifts and Christmas trees and help support those families. And then in the homeless space, we've got ways that churches and individuals and so forth can basically put together backpacks for some of the folks in our shelter, some of the folks that are at our check-in center, and some of the folks on our community impact team. So it's basically just kind of providing different ways for our churches on an ongoing basis to engage around those ongoing initiatives.
Awesome. All right, Lynn, tell us about Riverside.
Yeah, several things. We are doing a cleaning project first at a old military base that about 5 years ago got converted into a beautiful repurposed housing area for homeless vets. So we're doing a veterans project, 2 projects. One, we're cleaning first their officers club that's been converted over to a community club, beautiful site. So we're cleaning first and organizing, and then a couple weeks later, we're doing a decorating party. So this is helping our veteran families reconnect and re-engage in this Christmas season. So we've got great community support. Our council's the one who brought us into that. The other thing is we had a bike club of all things, like 100 people contact us, said, hey, we're doing a big toy collection. You want toys? Sure. My answer is always, yes, we'll gladly take whatever X is. And so we're then going to partner with our local foster care agencies that already do toy drives. And then one of our big supermarkets, Northgate, wants to give us turkey vouchers, and people are already, a church is already wanting to give us 100 food baskets. Do you want them? Yes, we will take them. So then we just have to kind of connect the dots of who needs what. So we're working with. So these things are just kind of organically happening in a time that I normally just say, okay, it's Christmas time. Bye, see you next year, but not this year. So anyway, some good connections that are happening with foster care, veterans, food issues, with churches wanting to help families in need. So anyway, that's what's happening.
That is awesome. Brian, share about Modesto area.
Well, we've been working hard. We actually put this red folder plan together, and so we're working on it. But we have our, Love Our Kids coming up. We'll be doing our comfort kit drive, and what we do is we work within the county to put together backpacks that are filled with blankets, toothpaste, different supplies for youth that are transitioned out of care, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes during the day. Put those together, put about 1,000 together, and we give them to Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County. So we'll be doing that on December 4th. So we're excited about that. We get about usually 200 to 400 volunteers that come out and put those together, and then we hand those off to the social workers to use from there. So we're pretty excited about that.
Very, very cool. Krista.
Yeah, we actually just finished a project. Well, it's mostly finished. There's some touch-ups that are happening still, but there was a house that somebody in our city donated their home towards Nehemiah Project LA. So that's a nonprofit that works with transitional aged foster youth. So this house is going to house 4 girls coming out of the foster care system in a month or so. So we just had, I think there were 4 different churches involved in painting the interior of that house, which was really cool to see happening. And then everybody's got ideas about how we can circle around those individuals that will live in that home. So that was really cool. And then coming up, we do Angel Tree every year. So that's in partnership with Prison Fellowship. And we've got about 100 kids that we're going to get some gifts for. And we also host a party
So people will be joining us for that. And then we have a foster celebration. Last year and this year, it's a drive-through version, but we've got about 50 to 60 foster youth teenagers from a local DCFS office who are going to come, and our church, and we've invited a few others. We'll see if the mayor comes this year. He was able to join us last year for that, but we'll be giving them hygiene kits and gift cards and some special sweatshirts and things like that. So that's coming up for us.
That's awesome, Krista. All right, Chris.
Okay, you guys are putting me to shame. What we do is we play. And so we have something called a reindeer ride. It's a bicycle thing, and it's a community builder is basically what it is. And so we'll have about 100, 150 people come out and probably tag something onto it, like you guys have already suggested, related to bringing a gift or something like that for somebody. But we play in December. So that's what we're doing.
Well, we did put you to shame, didn't we? What are you guys doing?
For sure.
South Carolina, you guys just, have fun and just relax. And
Oh yeah, that's all we do over here.
all we do. That's what I figured.
Head to the beach.
Oh, the beach. That's very good. All right. Well, hey, I've asked Jay Williams and Mandy Wilson. Jay is in Fullerton, city of about 150 or so thousand people. Mandy in Waterford, California, about 9,000 people. So we got a kind of a mid-sized city and a smaller city. I've asked them to share about what are some of their year-round initiatives. What's their year-round strategy for engaging in their community year-round? How the big one day, affects, the year-round stuff. And I just want them to kind of share a little bit about what they do. And then not right now, but in a little bit, I'm going to ask them about, some of the challenges and how do they pull that off. So we're going to get to the practical in a little bit, but just a quick overview. Jay, why don't you start us off? What's your year-round strategy and what Love Fullerton does?
Hey, Jeff, can you share the screen so I can show a few slides? Is that possible?
Sure can. I'm going to make you co-host right now.
All right.
And Mandy, I can do the same for you if you'd like. Nope.
Okay. So can I just pull up my screen? Is that?
You should be. The share screen should show up.
Oh, geez. Share screen. I'm sorry. Down below.
Hey guys, in the comments over there, I love Nate and love Anaheim. They're doing a whole lot of stuff. They're always doing stuff. Every month is, but man, check out some of the things they're doing. It's pretty amazing. It's always amazing. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We can see this, Jay. We're good.
Okay, got it. So just a real quick for me, a little bit of my story. So I'm the executive director of OC United, and we've been working for 6.5 years now, and we've run Love Fullerton for 8 years. And prior to that, I was a part of in 06 and 07, I was a part of a learning cohort that was called the Externally Focused Church. And I was a part of that with Ian, who's on the screen as well. And there was 10 churches, and Eric Swanson was taking us through. He'd written a book by that title, and I know Jeff is good friends with him and is a part of that learning cohort as well. But they were challenging us to how do we move and get our church outside the walls of the church. And our church was a church that was known, had great history, sending missionaries all over the world. But when it came to local engagement in our own neighborhood, we weren't very strategic, nor did we have much of a plan. And so one of the things, I want to share a slide with you that really kind of began to challenge me over the years as we were thinking about how do we do this work. And these slides, I'm just straight up stealing them from Eric. So they're ones that we use. But as you can see this little graph here, as we began to measure what we were doing and what it looked like in the community. So on the left is the depth of engagement. And it starts in that bottom quadrant with, giving money and things. And then it moves up to the level where we're doing projects and events. and then the last in the upper quadrant is where you're really engaged with people and relationship. And then when you look at the bottom is the frequency, and obviously yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly. So this is what many of us looked like. Is, as you can see, we were heavy on the annual event, and we did projects, or we gave money, and we did things. And so, you know, there's scattering. We have rock stars across the way that are involved in deeper level periodically, but for the most part, we're focused on events. And for me, this was definitely true of us. We did events really well, and we kept doing events. We did a event that we called Grace Works, and we did a big thing when a county-wide that was called Serve Day, and we'd get a lot of people out. And as I began working with our church and our groups of people, this is the message I was trying to say. This is where we're trying to go. We're not about doing events per se. We really are trying to help people to get to follow the trajectory of this arrow. And so next slide, let's see. So this next slide this is where we wanted to be. We wanted to see more of a mixture. And here's why. As you go on this trajectory of deeper engagement, more ongoing engagement, where you're engaged with people and an ongoing basis, is that first of all, the discomfort level, it increases. As you go up that, it gets more difficult, it gets more messy. It's going to put you in places and positions that maybe you might not have signed up for initially. But look what it does to our heart. It just grows and enlarges and expands our heart. We might start with maybe smaller, indifferent hearts, and then God, just as we go on this trajectory, God just grows and enlarges and expands our heart. And I think that's definitely the message of what I've experienced. And so when at one point in our journey, I tell people that one summer we did an event with 3 other churches, and we painted a local shelter in our city, and that was focused on domestic violence. And we did it with our police department, and we did it with 2 other churches. And after we did that event, I determined that I was never going to do another one of these events alone, where it was just one church doing good deeds for the city. And so I went on a search back for the old Serve Day model, and lo and behold, it had landed in Modesto. And someone told me about Love Modesto and what they were doing. I looked them up, and I read kind of just the mission statement and what Jeff had created at that time. And I thought, dang, this is brilliant. I love this model, because it's not focused so much on the event, but it's like, what happens? This is what we do annually, one day of the year, but what are we doing the rest of the other 364 days of the year? And I loved how he had brought in his model with the love our neighbors, the love our schools, and the love all our kids. And so I immediately got in touch with him, and we quickly learned that both of us knew Eric Swanson, and we're working with him and reading some of the same stuff. And so just our hearts knit together. That our Serve Day is this catalytic event to invite the church to step into engagement year round. And so what we tell people is we do this day, this Love Fullerton, and it's a great day. It involves everybody engaged in all the sectors. We're scattered all over the city. We get to do some amazing things. But what we do the other 364 days of the year is what we created OC United to be about. And so we're in the process of, we try to invite people into initiative like you guys all that love every schools. There's just an amazing open door for us to step into our local schools. We have a great relationship with our school district and our superintendent, and we just get invited into every school. And now we're looking to see what would it look like if every school had a partner. And so we're really trying to invite our churches to form these relationships with the schools so that you can stay engaged throughout the year. And we invite people into some of the local senior centers. We do respite care for foster care. And so anyways, that's our story. And the very reason that I stepped into this was because this was a model that was built to not be about the day, but it's about to say, how do we make impact all year long? Thank
Awesome,
you.
Jay. Thank you, Jay. All right, Mandy, can you share briefly a quick overview of your year-round involvement and strategy?
Sure. I would say I mirror Jay's story in a lot of ways. I was working with the church and looking for something that was going to fulfill that, in my idea, what, ministry looked like to the community all the time. And Love Our Cities really was that. And so when I jumped on board, it was the intention of restarting Love Waterford as a year-round program. The idea of just doing the City Serve Day, wasn't even a consideration. And so when I started, we actually jumped in on Christmas projects. So I had never done a City Serve Day before I started doing other projects with Love Waterford year round. So I didn't know the deep weariness that comes from the City Serve Day because it really is the foundation of so much of what we do. It involves just everyone. And we work so hard to really bring everyone together on that day. And so I think for a lot of people, the idea of jumping from that into a bunch of other things, you're remembering what it feels like to come off that project and what it feels like to hold, 75 different strings of different organizations that you're trying to communicate with. And so I would say now, looking back at the last 18 months or so, that that is by far the biggest, project, the Citywide Volunteer Day, and it takes the most out of you and is the foundation of the organization. But once you have that, building off of it is so much easier because you've already established those relationships. A lot of our other events and programs and initiatives just build off of what's already going with those relationships. A lot of them focus on one or two partners, not necessarily trying to bring the entire city together constantly. So from there, you've already established that momentum, and keeping it going is a much simpler process. So I'm not going to get into all of the events that we do with time here. I will say, we kind of followed Love Modesto's example of wanting to do something in spring and something in fall. For us, that wasn't another Citywide Volunteer Day. That was, something that was more focused on the schools. So we have our Love Our Schools Week. And somebody earlier mentioned, organic. And I think that that has been a really good key point of us building all of our other events. They just happened organically off of things that you saw a need, that there was an established interest, there was an established partnership. They're spaced out in a way that, makes it possible for us as volunteers to, not burn ourselves out. And so they really did kind of happen on their own. We stepped into a lot of projects just as partners. There's things we do with the city and other organizations that we don't necessarily lead or envision or birth out of our, own ideas and masterfulness. They just happened with something that was already, had an interest in a history. An example of that is Trunk or Treat that we just did this last week. And that is something that our city has picked up and dropped for years. And we just kind of picked it up and held it up this year. And that probably saw in excess of 3,000 people come out, which for us is a big deal in our little town of less than 10. And so that's a really good example of something that there's a lot of interest in. It's actually a very easy project for us to facilitate. And it really helps us build and maintain relationships with a lot of the other organizations in our city. So a couple points on the strategy part of that. Again, I think the thing that we've noticed the most is that the more you do, the easier it gets because those doors and relationships stay open. We have really good trust now with the city. We have really good trust with the schools. It's so much easier than, coming to somebody once a year, and they may not even be the same person in position of leadership of those organizations you're trying to partner with. So that momentum just maintains itself and we build trust with them. We also build a lot of trust with other partners because, we try and do things for them that isn't necessarily us going to them and saying, can you come and help us with X, Y, and Z? Sometimes it's, hey, I see you've got an event going on. Do you need us to help you find some volunteers for your event that you're leading and organizing? Do you need us to help you market your event? because in this town, our social media and our website, has really become the platform for a lot of things that are happening in town. So now all those organizations are coming to us for help with their projects. And that's been a great tool for us to, again, have that relationship be a two-way street. And that just keeps going all year round. So the other thing I would say is that we have, our core leadership team, and then each of these events has different committees and people that get interested in them specifically. And so there's, a leadership opportunity for people to step up for an event like our Christmas parade or our Christmas meals or our version of the comfort kits. Whatever the designated project is, people can step up and just lead that. And that has helped us on the leadership side to actually, keep these things going and not burn ourselves out. Not everyone on our core team has to be solidly involved with every event and every project and initiative. We have a leader specifically just for our student mentorship program, and that's her focus. And we just support her on that. And that also brings out a lot of leaders that we don't see necessarily with City Serve Day. So as we do these other events with foster care or with like food insecurity or different things like that, there's churches and there's people who have a specific interest in those projects. And we've seen people come up and come into relationship with us that wouldn't for the City Serve Day. That wasn't something they were excited about. But as we've done other things, they've gotten excited about those projects and initiatives. And so we've been able to build relationships with churches that we were struggling with before. And so that's just, the more opportunities you have, the more momentum you're going to keep going, and the more people you're going to see come on and really take notice of your organization and continue to show up at other things year round.
Thank you, Mandy. Hey, let's do this. I'm going to have Jay and Mandy stay on the call here after we're done at 8:45-ish. And then I just want them to be available to any questions that you have of them, maybe something you heard that you'd want to follow up on with them, or just, I was even thinking of them even practically like, okay, this is great, but how does this work? Like, how does this, do you hire people? What's my next step, or whatever it would be, but I want them to stay on the call for anyone who'd want to just interact with them. One thing I did forget to share earlier is our website updates. I'm going to put in my notes going out, you're going to see a couple things that have already been updated. And then next month, you're going to hopefully we'll have all of them done. And we're going to put it in a document. You can see them all, but I also want to talk through some of them on the call. Next month, we're going to talk about how to build the best team so that you're not leading alone. So I want to talk about how to build a team, and I want to have some of you share as well. I love this, guys. I love this interaction here. I love having everyone kind of participating and contributing really makes this what this is. So next month, we're going to talk about how to build that team. We're also going to hopefully give a lot of the website updates. January 5th, I want to talk about the next one in January, how to get sponsorships from your city, county, churches, and businesses, and for you to have all the funding you need. So really talking about funding. This thing is just working. I mean, businesses, churches, organizations, people want to support this. And if you're not getting that support you need, we're going to help you because it's proven. We got a proven model here that definitely works here. So, all right, it is 8:45. So if you need to go, totally understand. If you want to stay on the call and interact with Jay and Mandy, please do. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And man, I hope you have a great day today.